Dear MLS men and women, the next time unambiguous dark-skinned black people call you a house slave, tell them thank you, because house slaves were the embodiment of resilience, strength, perseverance, and endurance. Because just like the unambiguous dark-skinned slave, they kept the economy running, and they did not choose their lot in life. I notice when a lot of colorism conversations, the main talking point of a lot of unambiguous black people is, well, your white side is not going to accept you, so you're just black like me. For some reason, they always want to bring white people into these conversations. But white people didn't always look at black people as light skin or dark skin or whatever. It was basically black people were not even human. So it wasn't a color hierarchy during that time. It was a humanity hierarchy. So if you were 100% black, you were considered 3/5 of a human. But if you were a mulatto, quadroon, octoroon, which means you had like one white parent or one white grandparent, you were considered half human or 1/4 human. Like that's how deep that shit got, or that's how deep that shit was. But they didn't always look at a separation of skin tone between black people. We were all just black. That was it. There was no light skin, dark skin, mixed race. There was no distinction, not really, until unambiguous dark skinned black people made a difference. Prior to this colorism conversation, within the last 10 years, we were all black. The light skin, the dark skin, the mixed people, we were all considered black. But via the colorism conversation, unambiguous dark skinned black people, mainly black women, decided to separate the black race publicly and let everybody know that light skin and mixed people are different from black people. And if unambiguous dark skinned black people are so damn oppressed, you would think that they would want to have as large of a group or as many numbers as they could, because we all have to fight against a common enemy. Well, white people weren't making a distinction before, but I think that they are starting to make the distinction now. And their preference amongst some of them, their preference amongst the black people seem to gravitate more toward MLS in some cases. I really don't care one way or the other. Preferences are subjective, but they are now starting, it seems like, to make a difference now. And shout out to this content creator here. This is the screenshots of where I got, of his video. Hopefully his name is showing. I think his name should show. You can go ahead and type in the title and his channel will pop up and you can look at it yourself. But the video the video I'm talking about is one that features like a white guy and two black women. One is a biracial young lady and the other one is like a light-skinned black woman. And it's a white guy, and he was talking about why he doesn't prefer or find black women attractive. And he made a distinction between black people and mixed race people. And he said if he did choose, he's just not attracted to black women. But if he did choose to date black women, it would most likely be like a mixed, maybe he might be able to dealing with a mixed race black woman, but that's as far as he would go as far as dating black women goes. So you can tell he's starting to see a distinction between mixed race people or mixed race black women and unambiguous black women. Me personally, I don't care. To each his own. But my point is that during slavery, black people often make distinctions between the house Negro and the field hand. And, well, they say, well, the house Negro was treated better than the field hand, and none of that makes a difference to me. To me, a slave is a slave, and neither one of them chose the roles that they played in that institution of slavery. Neither one of them chose the food they ate, neither one of them chose the clothes they wore, and neither slave was paid for any of the work that they did. They both did grueling, back-breaking work, whether it was in the house or whether it was in the field. And I'm not trying to minimize the work of the field hand. It was definitely grueling work to be out in the elements, in the hot sun, and be subjected to those kinds of conditions. So it just seems silly to me to sit around and argue about who had it better and who had it worse. Neither one of them had it better or worse. Neither one of them liked what they were doing. You would hear unambiguous black people talk about how privileged the mulatto was and how privileged that the house slave was. But you want to call washing floors and ironing and dumping chamber pots and cooking and tending to the children of the enslaver, and then you have to sleep on the floor on a pallet at the workstation wherever you worked at, near your workstation, and then have to be at the beck and call of the slave master anytime he wanted to sleep with you or molest you, and then bear his children against your will, and then have to wake up and service his wife, like look at his wife in the face and deal with the vitriol that you had coming from her because she had knowledge of the fact that her husband was sleeping with the house slave girls and that she bore his children. If you want to call that shit privilege, then you go right on ahead. I see no privilege in it. There was no appreciation for the house slave anymore for the field hand. Neither one of them was paid for the work that they did. A slave was a slave at the end of the day. Just like with Miss Rosa Parks. People say, well, there were dark-skinned, unambiguous dark-skinned black women that did this, that refused to give her purse seat on the bus before she did it. She was just more photogenic. Well, that may be, but she didn't choose to be famous. She just was tired that day and told that white man to go fuck off. She didn't ask for the fame or any of that stuff. She got arrested and made famous, but she didn't look for fame when that happened. She was tired and she didn't feel like giving up her seat. And if there was so much privilege in light skin and being a mulatto, quadroon, or biracial, I feel like it wouldn't even be a Rosa Parks. It wouldn't even be a Angela Davis or a Frederick Douglass. Because clearly from where they were sitting, they felt the ugliness of racism just like an unambiguous dark-skinned black person felt it. They felt the discrimination, the overt racism, the beatings, the lynchings, the being shot, being separated from the family. They felt all of that. They endured all of that. And I just don't think that the experiences of the mulatto, the quadroon, or the light-skinned black person should go unnoticed or should be invalidated. But this content creator's name is Dat Shaq. DATSHAQ2X. Just in case you didn't get the name in the photograph. But I'm just so tired of hearing about how, unambiguous monoracial black women, dark-skinned black women are always, trying to project their insecurities onto MLS women. And it's only the women. It's the unambiguous monoracial dark-skinned black women doing that to MLS women. They don't do it to the men. They don't mention dark-skinned black men. They only do it to us. And I'm so tired of hearing them, well, she thinks she better. She thought she was better. She thought she had privilege. She thought because she was light-skinned, she was going to get this. Or she thought because she was light-skinned, she was going to get that. And it's like, how the hell you know what somebody thought? Now you reading minds now? That's about as silly as me saying, well, in the cases of those black women that went overseas to the continent of Africa and they got robbed and other bad things happened to them. If I were to sit up here and say how they thought they would get treated differently because they were dark skinned or whatever, on this channel will be gone tomorrow if I were to say that. It's always when something bad happens is when black women, dark-skinned black women, talk about MLS women and how we thought we were better and we thought we was going to get this and that and we thought we were going to get treated like this or that. And it's almost as if when something bad happens, they say that as if they are glad that something bad happened to an MLS woman. Like they are saying basically we deserved it. So if we were to say something like that about them, if something bad happens to them, say like that poor woman that went over to Gambia and she was unalive because she was building a house and a Gambian man who was her contractor unalived her and robbed her. Now, if somebody who was MLS were to say, well, she thought this and she thought that because she was dark skinned and she may have thought, you know how fucked up that sounds? That's fucked up. Only somebody with a sick, twisted, fucked up mind would say something like that. That somebody deserved this or that. And black women are always talking about what some MLS woman thought. Oh, she thought she was better. She thought she was better than black women. She thought because she was light skinned, she was going to be put on a pedestal. She thought because she light skinned, she got a little half-ass straight hair, that he was going to love her better than he loved black women or treat her better than he did black women. She got the same black man. You look at you now. I mean, what type of crazy stuff is that to say about somebody when something bad happens to people? But I swear, if somebody got up here, me or any other MLS person said that about an unambiguous monoracial black woman or black man, this channel and their voice, they would be canceled tomorrow. I mean, or at that second. It would be so much outrage behind that. And I just think that's because that's basically saying that they deserve what they got. And that's some jacked up shit to say this about somebody. Like it really is. And we need to do better. But yeah, so that's my little rant. But I definitely feel as though I want to make sure that my listeners understand the contributions to this economy that MLS people have made during the institution of slavery. They endured just so much pain and trauma. Violence, and many of them lost their lives. So I want to make sure that their contributions don't go unnoticed, and that if no one else appreciates them or wants to celebrate them, I definitely do appreciate and celebrate MLS people all throughout history, MLS people today. I'm very proud of us. And I love us. And I want you MLS people to know, men and women both, that being called a house slave is a compliment. It really is. So the next time somebody who is unambiguous, dark-skinned, monoracial tries to insult you by calling you that, just say thank you.